What's up, everybody? Welcome back to John Versus, the show where we watch movies so you don't have to. With me this week, friend of the show, family of the show, Mr. Zach Messinger. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm very glad to join you in this endeavor of watching this upcoming classic and such.
Yeah, I always start off every show by apologizing. So I'm sorry I made you watch this. I don't think this is the caliber of movie you're used to. So again, if you were never planning on watching this movie, I am sorry for bringing you along.
I thought of two, maybe three reasons as to why I appreciate the apology, but you don't necessarily have to, just because, well, one, I love torture, and two, I certainly can't remember that right now. So yeah.
All right. Well, usually when I start off with this, I usually ask you so initial feelings about the movie without spoiling the movie we're talking about, even though everybody knows what we're talking about. What were your initial thoughts before and after watching this movie?
Well, when you first sent me the link to see the movie, I did a double take of the cover art and such, and I was like, "Huh, this looks like a ghost pirate kind of thing." And then I saw the title, and it's like, "No, it's not." And then after that, I took a glance at its IMDb page and such, and an immediate red flag for me was, you know how on the top of an IMDb movie page and such, it has a trailer for the movie and such, all that. This movie did not have that. I'm like, oh. And then I scrolled down a little bit and saw that there was literally no pictures for any of the actors at all. And I was like, oh, I don't know if this was a staple for other Jagged Edge movies or something, but it's yeah. And then of course I saw it's Jagged Edge. I'm like, okay, yeah, makes sense.
Well, the good thing about Jagged Edge is they usually do have trailers. I guess they don't all make their way to IMDb. And this movie is actually the second movie they ever did. But I found the trailer on YouTube. It's Rise of the Mummy. We'll check out that trailer right now.
Now, I, for one, never thought we'd be able to have first-hand experience at examining a mummy.
Come on, ain't nothing to be scared about. Dead corpse wrapped up in cloth, mate.
Be careful with that.
No one's gonna believe us. They're gonna think we did this.
We have to break the circle to break the curse.
Guys, I think he's coming.
Hello, this is an emergency. Can any member of staff read me?
What is happening?
Jesse, what happened to you?
Normally, I say that the trailers are better than the movie, but I think that trailer actually does not do this movie any favors.
Sort of, yeah. It kind of it addressed something later in the movie that I actually thought was somewhat interesting. So but yeah.
Yeah, like most Jagged Edge movies, this movie, I mean, at least it's using a premise we're familiar with. Everyone knows what a mummy is, and we know about the Mummy, whether we're talking about the classic Universal Mummy, or we're talking about Brendan Fraser's Mummy or Tom Cruise's Mummy. We know what mummies are all about. We know that they're Egyptian undead spirits that reanimate a mummy, an actual mummy. This movie is of that. It is definitely a mummy costume that we're dealing with. But let's start with the cold open, where for some reason, even though it's a mummy, these people are in the forest of England. They're in the English forest. and they're just fleeing this mummy. I'll let you take over. So, like, I know you took notes. They're in the English countryside forest, fleeing from a mummy, and they give us no exposition what's going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, like right off the bat, it feels like it was a student shot film and such, and like immediately I was like, I knew that because it gave us kind of like an unintentional ass shot of like the girl as she like jogs away and such. And then basically they tried to like do some kind of like a ritual or whatever to, I guess, like seal away the mummy or whatever. However, the ritual, like, you know, of like if like any kind of like ritual you see in any kind of movie ever, you know, it's like you would at least like see like, you know, something like, you know, a circle and such. There's this one guy who's like making like a salt circle or whatever, but it's very clearly incomplete and such.
He gets 90 degrees around that circle.
Yeah, not even that. Like, but yeah, and then basically the mummy comes up behind them. The one dude gets stabbed. It looked initially like he got stabbed in the leg, but then it cuts to a shot where it's like, I guess it was like the back or whatever.
He's like getting stabbed like the side, like here, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I guess fake blood wasn't quite in their budget because he literally just like spits up saliva as it gets stabbed to his like side and such. And then the girl, she sees it and then whips out like some kind of like a very clearly fake blank gun. And then of course she tries to shoot it, of course fails, and you of course get that magnificent gunshot.
The CGI muzzle fire is always great. The CGI like pew coming out of the gun.
Yeah. And then to end it, they managed to seal the mummy with like this like very clearly prosthetic heart kind of thing.
Mummy, rest now. Rest in the land of darkness. Mummy, rest now, for you shall not be awake for this curse. Mummy, rest now, for you shall not be alive for this time. Mummy, rest now. Mummy, rest now.
And so the mummy gets sealed away, and then the scientist that like I guess is like with the girl or whatever, he gets shot by a soldier off screen.
We did it.
And such, and then it shows the soldier, and then I guess they collect the mummy or whatever, which the appearance of that soldier makes me think that this cold opening was supposed to take place in like Egypt or like the Middle East or like somewhere around there, but their budget clearly didn't allow that, so you know.
Yeah, they're clearly in a forest.
Looks like you found our mummy. Man! We got him!
Very clearly.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that you mentioned already that I want to touch on, which is just weird to me, and it's never really explained, is this mummy. You know, there's a lot of choking in this movie, which is fine. That's your classic mummy. But this mummy also is armed with like your dollar store version. Like your little kid wants to buy the Navy SEAL action set. He has like a plastic K-bar knife. Which is basically what and I have no idea where a mummy would get. I understand that if you have one of those old school, like from Tales from the Dark Side, like that curved embalming knife people would use, that would make sense. And I believe your prop budget wouldn't be crazy. But instead, they have this really clearly military issue plastic knife that he attacks people with. What do you think about that?
I was literally just thinking that, like, you know, it's a mummy. You can think of like many creative ways for him to, like, you know, kill people and all that. Like, you know, maybe say like wrap them in like like or choke them with like cloth or something, or like steal their soul or whatever. But no, it's just a knife. Like it's just every other slasher villain, you know?
Yeah, I'm more into like supernatural creatures just having supernatural strength and like, you know, crushing heads or punching holes in people or just breaking them in half. But this dude has a legit replica modern military knife, which is just, and they never explain why he has it, where he got it, whatever. So then we cut to the title card, and like, yeah, the body's collected. And normally if you're involving the military in collecting a ancient mummy, the number one destination for that mummy is a random community college. That's exactly where I would send it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I literally have it like right here, you know. Yeah, like they have a deadly threat in like an everyday community college, because like I guess like not to jump ahead too far, but it's like they say that there's like a deadly smell or some kind that can like kill people.
Yeah,
and such.
They look up news stories about the mummy, and the mummy is linked to a series of deaths, right? There's all kinds of like biohazard stuff where you have to wear a mask around the mummy because they don't know what kind of diseases it has.
Mask up, serious.
But they don't send the mummy to a military installation. They don't send it to a private hospital. They don't send it to the Department of Health. They send it to legit. It looks like an elementary school. Like it's an elementary school, but it's set as a college where there are archaeological students, and they just win the academic lottery that they're entrusted to get this mummy and all of these artifacts that are like, it has a necklace and a book, and it's all just together. It's just given to them. We trust you guys, even though you're students.
Okay, class. Today, I have a very special treat for you. In our last lesson, we went over the history of mummification and mummies. Today, you're going to be able to see and examine one in real life.
I don't.
Yeah, and to top that off, like they're clearly 32 trying to play college kids, but you know.
Yes.
But
you must wear the masks that are on your desk at all times.
Yeah. And I will say this because we were talking beforehand. I wanted to point it out. There is our main character, her name is Holly. There's a throwaway subplot, which does not affect the movie at all, where Holly gets a message from her brother who she says has bipolar, and he clearly is having a hard time. She doesn't call him back, and he winds up dying, and then she's crying, which, if I've described that scene accurately, that's exactly how Midsommar starts. And they actually, and I'm gonna put the scene side by side right here. They do the scene where she gets the news and it cuts to her boyfriend hugging her while she's crying. But this girl is not Florence Pugh.
Yeah. Like it's like I literally put in my notes here, like Oscar-worthy sad acting, because like it looks like she's in like terrible pain in like her leg and such. But like, yeah.
And it's weird because like that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Midsommar, but like the whole point of having that subplot in Midsommar made sense because she's in this wacky relationship where her boyfriend treats her like shit because he's a narcissist. But her boyfriend in this movie, Mark, is actually like, he's not like the best boyfriend in the world, but they don't set him up to be like a douchebag or anything like that. He legitimately seems to care about her. So there's no need to even have this subplot.
It seems, it seems like he cares, but like there's literally just like 2 scenes in the entire movie with them together, you know?
Yeah.
It's like we don't see them at all, you know? And yeah, and it's just a tragic backstory just to have a tragic backstory for our main protagonist, you know?
Yeah, and it never comes up again, and it never has any bearing. There's no callback. It doesn't tie into anything that's happening with the mummy. And though it is Holly's fault, but we'll get to like the lore of the mummy as we go through it. Like in typical like dumb shit fashion. And the book, she picks up the book and just starts reading from it. And it's weird because they mention this mummy is from 450 to 250 BC, one of the lost kings. But the book he has with him, any
kingdom rose, the darkness be chose, the men that be, the men that see, allow them to rise.
You can just pick it up and read out of it. It's clearly in English. Doesn't make any sense.
Like I took a look at it, and it's like there's like hieroglyphs and such. So it's like, okay, suddenly this girl can just read hieroglyphs and all that. So it's like,
and the hieroglyphs translate perfectly into like an actual poetic thing that makes sense in English, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so either it's in English or she could just fluently read hieroglyphs with no issue.
Yeah.
Neither one is established. She just picks up the book and reads it. And that incantation, basically reanimates the mummy, and we'll get back to that again later. And then, everyone's scattered around. They're leaving people alone with the mummy. They're messing with the dude's necklace. And then the mummy just decides that it's time to start killing these people. And I'm going to give a small piece of credit to Rise of the Mummy. As far as like a formulaic slasher goes, they don't mess that formula up too bad. It's just the details they screw up every single time.
Sure.
So, yeah. So he's left alone with one girl. He goozles her. He gives her the Undertaker choke slam preparation. And another Jagged Edge hallmark is we don't know if a person is going to be the flat out killed or turned. So this girl, he when he grabs you by the neck, if he chokes you for a good 10 seconds, you turn. Like you become like a black-eyed mummy accomplice, I guess. Right?
That was like the one thing that was like somewhat interesting, like I was like, okay, he can take over people's minds and all that. That's all right.
And I believe that girl he leaves alone with is Tracy. So he chokes Tracy, turns Tracy. Then I guess we should establish the characters, right? We got Holly and Mark. They're the couple at the center of it. They have at least, let's see, there's the girl. There's 4 other girls in the class. Mark's the only guy in the class. Then there's the teacher, there's another teacher, and then there's like the principal or the superintendent, I guess. And then there's also 2 like janitor characters that come in and out.
Yeah. Like I gave like the couple teachers and like the principal, like I gave them literally just the name teacher, like the one who gives like the lecture to the class and such. I put professor for like the red-haired lady that gets
her name is Grace. Yeah, the teacher that's just in an adjacent office, her name is Grace. The actual teacher's name is Martha, and then the superintendent is like Principal Woodall or Wondall or something. Like they say it one time, but I got the information for us. And the principal, they don't give you a title. The dean, the principal, that is played by Kate Sanderson, who always, and I'll get back to Kate Sanderson because she delivers in the ways I want her to deliver in every movie. Well, anyway, so they turn Tracy, this teacher Grace, who like is in an office next door to the lab, and I gotta say the lab. Let me just take pause for a second. This is like every freshman level biology classroom that you see in every high school. And they're just, it's not even like the mummy's laid out on a table or a gurney or anything like where you would do research. It's literally like those desks that are shaped like an E, and it's on one of the things that jut out from the wall. And there's literal textbooks under his head to keep him from hitting the table. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you've been given this honor to study this mummy, and you just have it laid out randomly in like some shitty classroom.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised it doesn't turn to dust because of that, you know. But
Yeah.
like also like you say that about like the classroom, about how it like not looking like a lab or anything. Any normal like high school lab class would have like, you know, like lab tables with like, you know, like a sink and like a gas point or something. This classroom doesn't even have that. So I'm just
There
like,
actually is one scene where it is kind of like a chemistry lab because his head is on those like methane burners. Like there's one scene, and I'll splice it in here.
All I can think is that someone broke in and stole the mummy. And Tracy tried to fend them off and got attacked.
So it is like, but they move his body around so much that he's only on that table once. And even if you were in a chem lab, that's not where you would do archaeological research anyway, because the possibility of you setting the guy on fire would be very high.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So he turns Tracy. He gets off the table. He finds the other teacher, and it's weird because some people he's choking, some people he's stabbing, some people get turned, some people don't get turned. He does not choke Grace. I believe he stabs her, and she turns.
Oh my God!
Whatever. Then we get a scene where two of the girls are just using the facilities. And I can't wait to talk about this because actually the girl, Mora, I believe her name is. Yeah, Mora, who gets pulled out of, who comes out and confronts Tracy, doesn't really realize that her eyes are gone.
Tracy, what happened to you?
Just is talking to her like she's normal. That's actually the director of the film. Antonia Johnstone plays that girl. That she directed the film. So they drag her back to the lab, and they give her they hold the hammer lock her, and then they slit her throat with the most god awful CGI I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, yep.
It's just like it's CGI blood, just like dee, 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 and the mummy catches it, and the mummy drinks it, and the other girl, what's her name? Lynn. Lynn, played by Barbara Dabson, who's in all these movies too. She is just at the window of the classroom, watching them hold her down, watching them slit her throat, watching them catch her blood, watching them drink her blood, and she just stands in the doorway with her phone the entire time.
I was literally just thinking like she doesn't try to help like at all. Like I have that down here. I'm like even when it's just Glasses Girl like pulling or Tracy like pulling Glasses Girl out of the bathroom and such, when like the mummy and like Grace, I think her name is, like she's getting pulled out of the bathroom. She doesn't even try to help there, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I want to say the struggle, if you want to call it a struggle, the struggle leading up to her death lasts a long time. And this girl is literally just like the most neutral bystander I've ever seen. Like she doesn't look upset. She doesn't look scared. She just has her phone. And I guess she's trying to dial on her phone. But like, I don't know how, I mean, I know in England it's not 911, it's like 011 or whatever, but it's still 3 numbers. Like, let's go. I guess they just didn't want to give up the plot point that the phones don't work.
Yeah, and backing up a little bit to like what you said about like this girl being a passive like bystander and such and all that. Like she's like passive, I want to say, throughout the entire movie. Like even like before like, you know, shit hits the fan and all that. Like the first lecture, she has this like really weird like face of all like she's like this, you know.
I for one never thought or even dreamed we'd be able to have first-hand.
Yeah.
I
want to say like you're right about that. Then, back up a second. Like the teacher, Martha, is I guess if 10 is the most excited I've ever seen a person, she is at like a 5. You know, the students are like at a 2. Like they couldn't give a shit that like they've been chosen to be part of this, which would never happen. So then so now we have enough people who are killed at this point. Actually, they go after Lynn and they chase her all around the school. She's not like she'll hide, like she runs and hides, and there's a big shot of her like with her back against the wall. But she never makes any effort to like get away. Like she's always hiding,
like,
and then sneaking away. Like we're in full sight of them more than once in this movie.
I literally have it right here. Like infected girl can't see, and I guess just putting a book in her face can just like stop her in her tracks or whatever. Yeah. And then she
chases her into that it's a library, but it's a 2-floor library in this school. There's weird like metal steps that go up to the 2nd floor. So she's hiding in there, and she's not even hiding. She's just behind the desk where her ponytail can be seen over the top of the desk if you're looking. Then they fight. She shoves like an oversized book in her face. And for some weird reason, in this upstairs of the library, she grabs a fucking baseball bat. Who puts a baseball bat in a... She has a baseball bat. And where did that come from? It's a library.
And then you gotta love the stock sound effect of like the baseball just like hitting Tracy in the head and all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of really weird effects choices in this movie where it's like there's a lot of like noises in this movie too. Like they just went to the old website and just pulled up, we could use this.
And then my favorite part about that scene is like after she like incapacitates her with the bat and such, she literally just goes, "What the fuck just happened?" Like I love
what's going on. So now we're at the point of the movie where like the characters that are still alive kind of start realizing what's going on. So you got like Jesse and Kira are the 2 other expendable friends. The one teacher, Martha, is still hanging out, and the dean, played by Kate Sanderson. Now we start. The rules of the movie start getting established, right? Phones don't work because they're caught in a time loop. You can't leave the building. They do the whole like Nightmare on Elm Street 4 thing, where if you go out the front door, you wind up in the back of the building again, and they keep going in circles. They do that whole thing. Yet, okay, phones don't work. You're stuck in a time loop. Internet works perfectly.
Welcome back to my channel, where you learn something new with me every Monday, Ghost Hunter George. Today we're going to be going all the way to Egypt. I have a feeling you guys know where I'm going with this. We are going to be talking about mummies. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Because they are able to access, even though your phones don't work, they're able to access stuff on the internet and do a ton of research, which should not work.
It's because we got to have the like obligatory like research scene to like give us exposition of like how like the mummy like works and all that. And also I want to say like you said like phones don't work and all that. I have here the principal. Like she says that like she's gonna try the phone, but instead she grabs a radio instead. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, they don't know anything. That's chalked up to the list of things Jagged Edge doesn't understand. The difference between phones and a walkie-talkie.
Hello? Hello, this is an emergency. Can any member of staff read me?
So then, like, I'll just kind of just plow through this. The people get picked off in like relatively stupid ways. Like there's a scene where the mummy is hiding behind a curtain for some weird reason, and the girl opens the curtain and he freaking stabs her. Then the other girl who got away with the baseball bat never uses the baseball bat to defend herself again. She just kind of like goes like this and gets choked. And then MVP Kate Sanderson, there's a scene where one of the infected people comes right up to her face. She does not scream. She does not move. The mummy walks up at a mummy's pace to stand shoulder to shoulder with the infected person. The dean does not scream, does not move, and then they just kill her. Like, there's no attempt to get away. And then we're kind of like wrapping up here. Then, like, for some reason, then we get to the whole thing where it's like these people are killed, but then like Mark and Holly are not killed. They are just knocked out and tied up because they realize like the mummy needs to eat a human heart to regain full power. Right now, I'm not a supernatural being. You're not a supernatural being, right? But if that was all he needed to do, why didn't he just do that with the girl he choked out when he was all alone? He could have just choked her and cut her heart out and ate it. Doesn't do it. And also the mummy seems, even though they're stuck in a time loop, time still passes because the ultimate way they beat this mummy is the clock runs out. Like, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. The mummy just takes too long and dies.
Like literally I have it here, like also throughout that entire scene, like when the mummy is like trying to like, take out Holly's heart or whatever, you have her boyfriend telling the mummy to get away with her with all the enthusiasm of like an old man trying to tell like a dog to like, like, go on, get out of here, get
out of here.
Thing,
Leave her alone.
We have just over a minute.
Hey, look at me!
And then it's like,
yeah.
So the mummy's like, he flat out asks Holly, "Can you get out? Like, are your ropes loose?" And she's like, "No." Even if you look at her hands, she could just pull her hand right out.
Holly, are your ropes loose? We gotta get out of here.
They're not.
And like, so no, I can't get out. I can't get out. Then all of a sudden, she just gets out.
Look over here!
And runs into the hallway.
Yeah.
All the turned infected people are like, dancing around Mark, and they're acting like they're going to stab him. They never stab him. He's taunting them, doing a full-on countdown, like 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Meanwhile, the mummy has Holly in the hallway, dead to rights. All he needs to do is stab her, but he just decides just to be menacing, like the whole time. And then 3, 2, 1, he falls over.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And then immediately after, you have like the boyfriend acting really, really hyped that like all of his friends around him just like fell down dead. He's just like, yeah, woo, let's go.
Yeah, they were extremely happy for being having all of their friends and teachers die. They're just jazzed, and they can walk out the front door and go outside. The emotions don't match up. And then because it's Jagged Edge, we can't just have a happy ending. We cut back to the mummy is now back on the table. The janitors come back. Weirdly enough, nobody recites anything or does anything that would reanimate the mummy. Nobody does a thing. but the mummy just reanimates and kills them, which is just doesn't make any sense to me.
You don't smell that bad.
Yeah, and then I also have down here I would have laughed so hard. Like, apparently the necklace can like collect the souls of the people that the mummy infected. I would have laughed if like the one skeptical janitor or whatever that's like wearing the neck gaiter, I would have laughed really hard if he would have just like sold that because he was talking about it.
That would be great.
Yeah.
All right, so that's basically the whole movie. Is there any other things you got down in your notes that we didn't touch on that are worth pointing out here?
We pretty much did much of that. Oh, there's a couple of like really funny lines and such that I have down, like in like the scene where like Holly and her friend are like watching like the fake blogger and such to like watch.
Well, that guy's in every movie, so he's great.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, like there's literally like a point where like her friend is all skeptical about it and she just goes, "Bitch, watch." Like
the way that ancient Egyptians treated a dead body was called mummification.
Holly, I feel like I'm watching a history lesson.
And leave a dried form so they wouldn't
Bitch,
decay easily.
watch.
It was so important for them to keep the bodies as lifelike.
and then of course you have to have like some kind of like really good villain killing line. So like Holly just for some reason just utters like something like, "Who's your mommy now?" or something like that.
Who's your mommy now?
Oh, that's right. I have
because you're English. If you're English, you call your mommy mummy. So there you go.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Shoot.
Who's your mummy now?
But yeah.
All right, and then so the way we wrap up every show is, you know, we're telling you don't watch this movie, but in the event that you decide you want to do it and you want to watch the movie, we will provide you, as per the champ Luis Boost, he wants us to give you a drinking game to do, so we've done that for you. And I always let my guests go first, Zach. So what game should people play if they are unfortunate enough to watch this movie?
Like I don't know if this is yours or not, but I have down either when a mask appears or when someone very idiotically takes off their mask for like no reason, despite the fact that there's supposed to be like some kind of like deadly smell or something. People just idiotically take off their masks all the time and such. Yeah, take a shot every time that happens.
Hell, the very first time, like the teacher puts a mask on and lets Holly approach the mummy and she doesn't even have a goddamn mask. Yeah, definitely take a shot every time that happens. Also, alternatively, anytime a character shows like absolutely zero sense of self-preservation, like anytime a character should be running and they are standing still, take a shot and you will die watching this movie.
Yeah.
Well, that'll bring us to the conclusion. Zach, thank you for being here this week. If people want to see more of you, where can they find you in this great community?
Well, I don't have a Letterboxd yet. I'm probably gonna make one soon. So for now, you could find me on Facebook at Zach Messinger. It's in the Facebook group if you're in, or at Instagram on @ZachKKABill. So yep, there we go.
And he also plays in the Why We Love Horror League. He'll have a match coming up. Him and Dylan Van Dyne debuting in teams soon. All right. Well, if you made it this far in the video, like, subscribe, comment, share. Go to the Facebook group Zach just mentioned, Why We Love Horror. We're on TikTok. You see below at WWL Horror. You can find me at Letterboxd, JWMaher. This is airing on Monday. This Thursday coming up, we threw a little wrench in it. We're not going to do necessarily a horror movie this week. Abby, Aaron, and I will be talking about Love Lies Bleeding, which is close enough. It's a Why We Love Thriller this week, and Why We Love Horror. And then Friday night, Why We Love Horror Trivia. Tune in for 2 matches at 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. We appreciate you stopping by.